Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before I get started, the housekeeping notes, all the dimensions and all the product I use are going to be listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There's a link to our Facebook group if you'd like to join that. There's my email address if you have any questions. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe to YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. Today, all I have in front of me is some red cardstock and some Traditions of Christmas DSP. You know, every once in a while, I just decide to turn on the camera when I have something I'm going to make and I haven't designed it totally yet. And this is one of those projects. And I did have some measurements around here, but I've mislaid them, but I think I remember them. So we won't worry about it. So we're going to go for this, and then when I get done, I'll have all my measurements. So what are we making today? We're doing a little treat place card. I can't even say that. Treat place card holder that is going to go on your Christmas table or Christmas Eve or whatever. And you could turn into this for Thanksgiving if you wanted. But this one's for Christmas. So I have grabbed these two. I grabbed my everyday arches. I've grabbed Christmas greenery because I've already decided I want to use the holly and the holly berries. I did grab some labels, but I'm not sure I'm going to use any labels. And I grabbed some real red and some shaded spruce and white paper and some ink if I need it. So we're going to go for it. So I do know this is not the size I need. And, oh, there's my measurements. I can show you. I have roughed out what I want to do. Not much. But we have other measurements to get, and I'll get those later. But I do know I need a piece of cardstock that is 6.5 by 4.5. And this was just a piece I had sitting in my envelope that I keep my paper in. So that's 6.5 by 4.5. Now, you could do all your scoring on here if you want, but I really do prefer my scoreboard. So use what you like. Scoring is really difficult on this. I can tell you how hard it is. You're going to score at 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. Like I said, it was really difficult. And then we're going to go ahead and burnish all that. Now we are going to need more red cardstock in just a minute. But this is what we have so far. We're going to go ahead and build this part, but we're not putting it together yet. So on the long side, you're going to do this to both. You're going to cut up and make sure you cut away that score line, and you're going to just miter in just ever so slightly. And then you're going to do that here. And here. And this side. Now, we're not going to put this together yet because we're going to put DSP on this, and I find it easier to put the DSP on when it's laying flat. But if you want to put it well together, then you can. So this is what we have so far, and this is the base of our treat holder. So let's move this aside, because the next thing we need is we need an arch. And what I did was I went through and measured my arches to give me an arch that will fit right in there, just like that. And so it's the third one in, and then we'll need the fourth one in as well. So I need some more red cardstock. Is that wide enough? like I said, I'm just grabbing scraps. Oh, it is. Good. I am just grabbing some scraps that I have and using them. Now, that should be about right. Now I have different size scraps to go in, but we may need those to make some berries in a little while. Yeah, I said berries. So we're going to die cut that. Now, to help make this pretty and get this done very quickly, we're going to use some of this beautiful paper. Now, you could use any paper you want. It doesn't have to be this. You could be some other one. But I did like the poinsettias, and I wanted to put poinsettias as my decoration and as my name tag. So I'm going to set that off to the side, and we're going to need 2 of these cut with the next one in. So I need a piece at 3 inches. Gonna cut it real as not to only cut what I need. We'll go ahead and cut it at 4. I'll show you why in a minute. We're gonna go ahead and cut it at 4. We'll cut that at 4, so it's 12 by 4 now. Too big to go that way. So I need, like I said, you just take in, that is 4.5. So I need 2 pieces that are 4.5. And I will put all these dimensions, even for this, because I'm writing them down right now. As we go. Now we'll save this because we'll probably use that. So I have those. We need to die cut those with this. We need to die cut this. Now, the other thing we need to die cut is we need to die cut some holly. And these are out of the Christmas Greenery. And there is a die to cut berries out if you want to cut the berries out. But I have been looking at, these are the traditional sparkling sequins, and I thought they'd make really pretty holly berries. So you could use this and cut some out, or you could use these. And I think we're going to use the sequins. So we need those, and I'm going to use Shaded Spruce because it is one of my favorite Christmas greens. So we're going to need 2 Shaded Spruce, and then we are going to need 1 out of white. So that's everything we have to die cut. And since I have to have the big die cutting machine to do that bigger arch, I will do that for all. So I have plate 1, plate 2, plate 3, and a plate 3. And we will start with this arch. And I think we'll throw in the holly berries at the same time. I know you can't see them. I've got them off. I just set them at the very end here. You'll see them as they come through. Excuse me, I just dropped one on the floor. Dropped my holly berry. And I will show them to you as soon as I figure out how to pick them up. So we have 2 beautiful holly berries. Or should we have 3 holly berries? 2 holly berries and 3. Well, I'm thinking about it. I think I'll just cut another one just in case I want it. There's our red piece. And then we have our first piece of DSP. Now I chose a paper that was not directional. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to cut 2 more holly berries down here, just in case I want them later. I have to make more than one of these anyhow, so. Okay. Need a pokey tool. And there's a little piece in here that wants to stick. And not done with those holly berries because we do need to get the white holly berry, or the holly leaves. And there's that one. Oh, I'll save that just in case we can use some pieces. I may do something with that arch. Now what I am doing on these, both of them had a flower at the top versus the flower. I'm putting the bigger poinsettia at the top. That is the only thing I'm doing on that. And I know I need one of these white. And I think I have another piece of white here. I do. Actually, I can get them both on that one. Just a little scrap. This project's more die cutting than stamping. I don't think there's going to be any stamping on it, to be honest. Unless I change my mind here in a few minutes, but I don't see that. Because I think this is going to be very pretty the way I'm thinking, the way I think it should look. Since I've never made one, I don't know. I know some of you said you liked when I just started creating. So there's the second one we need. You're saying, why do we need 2? You're going to see in a minute. And we'll save that. I think that's all the die cutting I need. Okay. The next thing we need is I need to drink a tea. I'm seeing this the afternoon before it airs, filming it, and it's a little on the warm side today. So the other place we need DSP is we need one for the front here and the sides. Now you don't have to put the DSP there if you don't want it, but I'm thinking I do want the DSP on. I think I want it on the front at least. And the sides. I do. So I said one side, not both. One of these is your back, and you won't need a piece of DSP for it. So let's get some measurements here. So this is, so let's make that, I want very small borders. So let's go 3 3/8. By 1 3/8. So we're going to need one of that. And so we know the height of this is 1 3/8 here. And the depth should be the same. 1 3/8. And we're going to need 2 of those out of DSP. So this is that last piece I left off, but I decided to cut it at 4 inches because knowing that this was smaller than 4 inches, I knew we could get it out of this piece. So let's cut this at 1 3/8. And you know me, I like to cut at the bottom. It's just easier for me to see the numbers. Don't have to strain my eyes. We're going to need 2 at that. But I want more red than the white, so I'm going to flip this around this way. That's one thing. Pick a paper that's not directional. Because if it's not directional, you can play around with your measurements and where you take them off. So the next one needs to be at 3 3/8. I want to leave the biggest piece of red, so let's go there. 1, 2, 3. So we're not wasting too much from that little piece. And then this one, we need 1 3/8. And 1 3/8. Look at your measurements twice. And if you're making mass productions, nope, that's too small. Sorry. Thought we might be able to use that. So that should be all of the pieces we need to assemble. So let's get started. Now I'm going to go ahead and hook these and this one on 3 sides. Now keep in mind, when you're looking at this, I'm looking at this the way it is right now. That looks like the top of the flowers to me. So I want the person to see it so it's looking at them. So I'm going to put this on this direction. It's not real directional until you get it small, so that when they look at it, it's the right way up. So think about your paper when you put it on. That's all I'm saying. Or use the plaid and you don't have to worry about it. No, I like the plaid too, but I like the poinsettias. Okay. And same thing, I'm looking at those pieces to see which way that little piece would be considered as up, because, and they want the bottom and then the top up here at the top. This one's really, yeah, it looks like it's this way better. Every piece is going to be different because it's really not directional, but then you start putting it on there and it sort of is. Like I said, I have tiny little borders there. Yeah, I need a little more glue here. It's not sticking down. Okay. Let that sit for a second. And then I'm going to grab one of our die cuts and we're going to put this one right inside of this one. I know you're saying, why is there 2? You're going to see in a second. I know, it's that anticipation. No one's seen it. Neither have I. Like I said, I don't even know if I'll like it. It's just something I cooked up in my head. But I knew which paper I wanted to use. I wanted the poinsettia. Okay, so we got that. So I was just letting this dry for a second before we manhandled it. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue here. And glue on this side. Make sure. And then I'm going to bring those in and make sure I've got nice flush. I'll put this one in. Make sure they're nice and flush. Now it is important that you cut this on the long side. If you try to cut this way on the short side, you're going to have too much bulk on the end. This way it spreads the bulk out inside the box easier. It closes easier and it looks nicer. And this side. And you could use tear and tape or Seal Plus if you wanted. I like the flexibility of glue, you know, that wiggle room we talk about. Okay, so there's our little box. And I took the measurements of this, you know, those little Hershey, they look like little bricks, chocolate bricks, candies, or little kisses and stuff can fit in there, and put a little cello bag and put it up with a bow. That's what I'm going to do, is a little cello bag with a bow. And then this is going to go on the back side like this, clear to the bottom. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to try to show. And I'm putting glue on the back piece on the inside like that. And I'm putting this down in here. I'll make sure it's centered because it's just slightly smaller than the box. Just like that. I'm just holding this for a second. I don't want it to, I need to flip it over and I don't want it to be loose. So it's gonna look like that. And your little cello bag head in here with a little red bow. Okay, back side. Now this is for sitting on the table. So you're looking at the purse, so you're looking at your pretty piece that has your name on it. The other side of the table is looking at this. Not very pretty. That's where this is coming in. We're gonna go right here and put it right on the back side to help decorate the back of that. You know, your side's pretty, but whoever's on the other side of the table, they don't want to look at just a big wall of red. Get that squared in there. Just like that. So it looks like this. It's much prettier to look at than just a wall of red. Okay, so there's what we got so far. And this is pretty much where my idea, except for the holly berries. So I need to decide where I want to put my holly. Actually, I'm thinking here. But do I want 2 or 3? 2 leaves and 3 berries? Yeah. Now you're saying, why is there a white one? Well, this white one's going to go right in here. Not hooked to them, but just off to the side. Because that is where you're going to put the person's name. Now, you could use markers, whatever you want. I want to find my, I'm going to use my Stampin' Right markers, which I know many of you, I know we discontinued them. I don't even know if they're still available. But I know many of you have your Stampin' Right markers. Shaded Spruce. That we're going to continue to use them. You could use blends for this, or just a black ballpoint pen. Or any kind of pen you want to use. And I'm going to write the person's name on here. In this case, I'm going to write my name, Lori. It said it was a placeholder as well. So now we have to decide where we want to place the rest of these. Do we place them up here? I think it distracts from it. I think they should be down here and upwards a little ways, like this. Yep, that's what I'm going to go for. So I think I'm going to grab a glue dot. Because you know, glue dots really work really good for stuff like this. And I'm going to take one and put it right at the base of one of these holly berries. Like I said, we have to go with what we come up with in my head. Now, we could plant that flat or we could put it on dimensionals. I like it sticking off the box a little bit. So I think we're just going to go flat, and I'm going to use glue dots. Sometimes glue dots are just the perfect thing. They're not messy. They hold really good. And you can put them exactly where you want them. Just like that. And then you could put your name holder here. Like I said, you're only going to probably need one to hold it on. And just at an angle like that. I don't know if I like it on there. Let me pull that off. You know what? I don't have a bag here. But with this big opening here, I think it would be pretty is if you had a little hook here on your ribbon and just put that on the ribbon. So either put this on the ribbon I don't have a bag, and I don't have the ribbon in here. Well, let me think on this for a few more minutes. We got time. I'm going to put some of these on. Oh, maybe we should just put that white one right in there. No, I don't like it on there either. I want a name tag on here because that was the purpose of this. Let's use the medium ones. Sorry, it's hard to hold this up and show you. I'm putting a little cluster of these. Okay. I do like that just like that. But I want the name tag to still go on. Or should the name tag been in green? I think maybe the name tag should have been in green. And with a black marker or black pen. I changed mine. Don't do white. Do black. Then put the name on this. And give it 3 leaves. This is what happens when I'm working on the fly, guys. This is how my mind works, and I just sort of come up with things. I have an idea, I didn't like it, and I threw it out already. That's exactly what just happened. So let's put that there. So make 3, you got there. I need one more glue. You could use glue or just tape to do this, but like I said, the glue dots were sitting right here. There, do 3 and then put their name on there, like that. So I think it's very pretty. Then you could have a sack with some red ribbon, little, you know, one of those little cello bags. Let's see if I've got one in here. I do. They're just little cello bags. Put all my treats in. And then stick it in here. And tie a nice little red or green ribbon around that. Just like that. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I don't have any red ribbon. Well, just a second here. Let me grab the red ribbon. Just one moment. I left it in the other room. Sorry for the dead sounds. I am coming. I had the red ribbon in the other room. Let's put something in here so it looks better. Not anything big. Is this too big to stick in here? Yeah, that's really too big. We'll just throw this in as our treats. No, I don't think I'd be giving somebody some glue in their Christmas tree box. But I just want to put something in here. Oh, that's too big. Hang on. Just want to give you an idea. It's looking me right in the face. That. And then put your red ribbon on. I'm sure it'd be much easier when it's full. And it'll look a lot nicer. But then, yeah, sorry I don't have any treats to put in here, but I tend not to buy those things and leave them in the house. They're too much of an addiction, you know. I look at them and I say, oh, chocolate. And then I say, that's a poor excuse for a bow, but it will work. Just to give you an idea what I'm talking about. and be like that. So that is my treat box and name holder, so everybody knows where you want them to sit on the big day for the big meal. And you could do this, and you don't have to use this paper. You could use other colors of paper, but I just thought this was very festive. And the person across from them. And the other thing is you could use this different patterns, so everybody's was different too. So give it a try. A treat holder for Christmas. And like I said, if you wanted this for Thanksgiving, just change the paper into a Thanksgiving mode and go for it. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.